yeah, a lot of people are just like, geez, you're not, doing so much. I'm like, well, I didn't really do so much all last year. I threw an inning in a few weeks, and I know myself well enough. I don't need a lot to get ready because, many of us are the same way. I think spring training is a bit lengthy for many of us because we work so hard in the off season. For me to get ready for one inning of work, that's my specialty. I don't have to get so over conditioned, even though I do. To not have to throw 100 pitches. Yeah. It's more for those guys that lengthen out, guys get their timing. But once these games start, we'll probably be about 10 games in when we want to do it for real.
Is that what you have a target, like a couple weeks, week and a half to really start to ramp
I'm going to throw some BP, face some hitters, live hitters starting tomorrow, do that a few times, and then get in the game and, get acclimated to real life. I'll probably have some good outings. I'll have a mediocre one and probably a bad outing somewhere in there, but it's spring training. I've got a few things that I'm trying to see if I can incorporate into my skill set.
Do you have the entrance music montage video picked out this year? Last year you were working on something special. Does it stay?
It's the same.
Okay,
it's the same. It worked for Mariano. I'm not comparing myself to that guy, but it worked for him. So,
not even a tweak, not like a Pearl Jam tweak in there.
No Pearl Jam tweak. I tweaked when I went up on stage with him. That was enough tweaking. We're gonna stick with whipping because it worked.
What was that like, by the way?
Oh, that was incredible. That was I don't even know if you can put that on your bucket list. It wasn't on mine. That's just an epic moment that was set up through a good friend, Sean Casey. How you doing, Case? If you're listening, and thank you again. Just a good friend going above and beyond his friendship. I helped him out though, reciprocate. I gave him Jason Aldean tickets.
Oh, nice.
So Eddie Vedder, Jason
Aldean. You got the country connections.
Yeah, I'm not a country guy, obviously.
Oh, okay.
But Jason Aldean, Eddie Vedder, so I think I still owe him on the friendship dues side.
What do you do here to unwind? Now that you have some downtime, and you're a golf guy,
No, my dad's here. That's
cool.
That's my activity, hanging out with Pops, catching up with him, and just hanging out with my family, do a little bit of fishing. I got a friend that's got a nice boat. We'll go out there and just this last bit of downtime before we hit the gas pedal and put it in fifth gear. So.
Did your dad play ball? Did you guys?
My dad played ball back in the 70s. Yeah, he probably the best coach I could have had.
What was his?
Son of a former big leaguer. That's not a bad coach to have.
What was his form? What was his message to you? Like his biggest teaching point?
There was a lot of messages. A lot of good car rides home. Good and bad. But father knows best, and that's why I'm here.
Last thing for you, we're getting back closer to the season, about a month away. The fans grew to love you guys so much. The blackout, everybody talks about that blackout game. Yeah. Can that magic rekindle this year?
Oh yeah.
Can there be a blackout every Friday night, or can you?
We switched our spring training jerseys to all black, so it looks better than too much yellow. Yellow is a kind of a strong color. I think you get just a hint of it. It's a highlight color, So. The black and gold is good, and we seem to be stronger in the black, and we're going to stick with that.
As you said, expectations are up for the whole team, but when you are on these caravans in the off season and talking to the fans directly, you get that sense that they do expect great things, but they're also thoroughly pleased with what you gave them last year after 20 years of tough ball.
Yeah, we're no longer the doormat. I think we're going to be not taken so lightly anymore. They know we're good. There's a lot of talent in this organization. I'm sure you see that on paper. You've seen what we got from last year. The core is now bigger. We have a little more experience. I'm the salty veteran, so I'll crack the whip where I need to now. But yeah, it's we got a good group of guys, and a lot of guys that are trying to make the cusp because they want to be here. I think a lot of guys signed over here because they were excited to be a Pirate, knowing what we've now become. A different identity now. We have maintained and established a different identity. I was excited coming over here when I knew I was coming from a Lehigh Valley team that was in first base in AAA to a big league squad that was in first place, and to do that, I could see the build, and that's why I signed here even as a free agent. I wanted to be a part of something big.
You guys, I'm sure, were dealing with all the 20 years of losing, and that was, can you guys finish? But that's all gone now. It's got to be a bit refreshing to not have to deal with all that.
we refreshed the clock here. We refreshed the clock. I guess that's the question. You know, questions about last year is the number one question this year. And like I said, we've set a standard, and now we're going to be compared to that standard, and we're going to be held to that standard, which is fine. We want to win. Every year you come into spring training, I don't care if it was, you know, my 10 years as a ball player. Every time you come in, you want to win the World Series. So it's no different this year, really.
The Shark Tank took on a life of its own. Is it back? Did Melanson have any other like strange adventures?
Well, he went to Africa this year. I think that was on the website, right? So I don't know if he's encountered some sharks down there. But no, I think that's kind of our identity. Let's run with it until we need to do something else.
It's not like the Safari Squad now or something.
No.
You know, you have like lion.
No tribal council out there or you know, anything else. He's you know, he's definitely an interesting man. He might be doing some Dos Equis commercials one day. You never know.
Has he come out of the shell? I mean, last year he was kind of Mr. Quiet, Mr. Serious. Did you loosen him up?
People don't know Mark that well. I know Mark real well. He's a character. Yeah. He doesn't reveal it. I think he's a little bit more subdued, but I try to bring it out of him. I think I do.
In all honesty, does your emotion on the field, I don't know, if emotion, is that the right word? Rage? I mean, I think you had a quote on your Twitter site about that. Does that rub off on the other guys as far as?
You know, it's unscripted for me. It's real. I don't ever rehearse that. That's something that there's a lot of things that run through your mind and through your body at that particular moment. And to be the last guy on the hill to do that, have that honor, that's what every reliever dreams about. You know. Guys say it revs them up, but if it does, great. You know, I'm just trying to do same, no difference than the guy getting a hit and being pumped up. We're jumping up in the bullpen when they're all fired up. So, you know, that collective raw emotion, people love to see it. I know the Pittsburgh fans love it because they're the same way too, as we saw in that blackout game. It was intense, and the city's intense, and the people and the fans and sports fans alike are all that way. So. I'm glad I fit the mold for people liking that stuff.